What's up, Internet? Welcome. Today we're going to change brake pads on the ZX10. Now these pads, they still have a little bit of wear lift in them. They don't need to be changed right now, but I had a fork seal leak on this side, and I was a bad human. I let it go for too long, and the pads essentially over time got bathed in fork fluid. Lost a little bit of braking power, just a little bit. So we're going to clean up the rotor really good with some brake cleaner, put new pads in, kind of soap and water the caliper, and then we'll do the other side so she'll get new brake pads. Not sure if the fork seal video, I'm not sure if that video is going to be out before this one or not, but I did make a video on the fork seals, so maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't, maybe you will, I don't know. Should be a pretty simple job. We've got two mounting bolts here that are 12 millimeter, standard socket and ratchet. And then there are two Allen bolt screws that go through this way. Those are holding our pads in. So before you break these guys loose and take the caliper off, it's a lot easier to break these loose with it on the bike. You don't need to take them out yet. You can do that once the caliper's off. But break them loose before you take the caliper off, because then you've got nothing to hold the caliper, and they're on there pretty good. And I think I already broke these loose off camera. I need an extension, just a short one. I am back with my short extension. In Russia, we do not do anything small or short, but for you, I make an exception. Should be able to pull these two screws out, and then the pad should just come out nice and smooth and easy. That guy was a little tougher to get out, and I think because the pads were, so what I did was I just kind of put a little bit of pressure on the pad with my finger this way, and just made it easier to get the second bolt out. And look at those nasty, nasty, nasty. Gosh, I was a really bad human. Those are gross. So to clean the caliper, I'm just going to use hot soapy water in a bucket and a toothbrush. That's all I'm going to do, nothing special. And then I'm going to wipe the rotor down with like a cloth towel and some brake cleaner. And then we'll put the new pads in. Should be good to go. I don't like to let my calipers hang off the brake line. So I'm going to take this hook off the fender, and then I'm just going to sit it on here like this till I go get my bucket of water. I like to clean these little pins and put just a little dab of grease on them before we put the new pads in. So I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, but in order to get the pin through both pads and then the other side of the caliper, it helps to put a little bit of pressure on the pads, because the pads don't want to go all the way up, and there's a spring at the top and it's kind of pushing the pads back down, and that makes it hard to line the bolt. So I push here with my thumb. You can see that the pin is going through both pads, and we're starting to thread in. It's lined up into the hole on the other side of the caliper, so we're good. I find that when I'm doing these videos, I often scrunch multiple words together and I make new words, like thing. Like, what in the hell, man? So again, I'm going to push up on the pads. I can feel the pin line up. Do a quick visual check. We're going through both pads. Everything's good. Again, just like when taking them off, I'm just going to hand tight these Allen heads, the pins that hold the pads in, and then I'm going to put it back, put the caliper back on. And I'm probably going to have to spread these out a little bit, maybe, because they are new pads, so they're thicker. Don't do that at home. All right. Cooking with gas. It's almost time to go ride. So something to look for is when your pads are really worn out and you have to spread. You have to push the pistons back into the caliper on both sides. And so if you need to do that a lot, you're pushing the fluid back up into the master cylinder. So it's always a good idea to keep an eye on the master cylinder and the reservoir and make sure it doesn't overflow. You might have to actually take some fluid out. But in my case, they weren't worn that bad, so I didn't have to push the pistons back into the calipers that far, so I'm not even really concerned about, to be honest. That's it, man. We're done. The other thing that you should do is pay attention to your lever. Give it a couple of grabs. Don't just start your bike up and go down the road. Give your lever a couple of pumps and make sure that the fluid is, there's no play, there's no softness in there. You might get on the bike, go for a ride, go to grab your front brake, and that first pull, that first pull might be, there might be nothing there. So give it a couple of pumps before you go for a ride, and make sure, because remember, we push those pistons back in. You need to push the pistons back out so that the pads are ready to grab the rotor thing that spins, man. God damn. It's like you get brain freeze when the goddamn camera pointing at you. You know what I'm saying? Fucking mind pump. And so I'm gonna squeeze it now. Watch this. So this is what's gonna happen is, so this is what I'm talking about. It went all the way to the lever and there's like no pressure there. That would not stop. So if you just jumped on your bike and went for a ride and then needed to grab brakes, so now I've got pressure, we're ready to go. So that's what I was talking about. All right, man, that's it. I'm just gonna rinse and repeat on the other side. And then, like I said, because of the fork seal leak, I'm gonna clean the brake rotor extensively. And then I'm gonna go for a ride, because it's been like a month and a half since I've ridden the ZX10 for various reasons. But she good now, we're ready to roll, So pretty easy job, anybody can do this. I mean, shit, if I can do it, you can do it, trust me. No special tools needed, very few tools needed. It took maybe, I don't know, 15 minutes, 20 minutes to, and that included me toothbrushing the brake caliper. So, all right, keep the road side down. We'll see you guys in the next video.